What's up guys, Enkiri here, and welcome to another Enkiri Elite Training vlog. In today's edition, we've got an all calisthenics based upper body training session that actually ended up being pretty killer. I used my Kensui weight vest to help me load up some of these movements, and I got in a really nice variety of presses and pulls across a spectrum of light, medium, and heavy work. And these calisthenics based training sessions are a really great strategy when time is short. I often use workouts like this one when I'm in a time crunch and I want to get in a really high quality strength and hypertrophy training effect as fast as possible. And if you're interested in training like me, be sure to grab yourself a copy of my conjugate manual at EnkiriEliteFitness.com. You can use code conjugate20 to get yourself a nice 20% discount off the manual. If you enjoy informative training content like this that details a comprehensive analysis of how I train and what my strength training philosophies are, then please remember to smash the like button and leave me a friendly comment down below as well so that more people get the opportunity to see this type of content. And hey, maybe consider tapping the notification bell as well. So what I did here was 3 separate push-pull pairings. Basically, I started with a strength protocol, then I moved on to a hypertrophy protocol, and then I finished up with a sort of a muscular endurance protocol. And I did all that in about an hour. On the first pairing, the strength segment, I just used a standard strength training ramp-up protocol, and I mirrored the training weight on both movements. So I was pretty confident that whatever I could do on a deficit pause push-up, I could also match pretty well on the rope inverted row. So as soon as I hit the set of push-ups, I just walked over to the squat rack and then I matched that effort with the same weight and the same number of reps on the inverted rows. And I ended up ramping my way up to 75 pounds for a solid set of 8 reps, which is a pretty good result on a deficit pause push-up. But I was still a little bit disappointed. I had kind of hoped I might be able to hit 10 reps on that going into the session. But since I couldn't do that, I decided to go ahead and just do an extra set afterward. And so I went up to 85 pounds, and there I managed to hit 6 pretty good reps with that weight. And again, all those rep performances were matched for equal reps on the rope inverted row as well. So that's a pretty darn good start to the training session. Next up, I moved on to the hypertrophy segment of the workout, and I switched my pairings to the incline push-up and the neutral grip chin-up with all reps restarted from the bottom. Now, for both of these exercises, I had 40 pounds loaded onto my weight vest. The primary reason for this being that with body weight only, I'm moving roughly 135 pounds on the incline push-up. So with an additional 40 pounds on the vest, the training weight is roughly 175 pounds, which is a little bit more than my body weight. So that's kind of the target training intensity that I wanted to shoot for on the push-up. And then I just kept the same weight on the vest for the chin-ups as well. And obviously the chin-ups are a little bit heavier because you're moving all of your body weight when you do a chin-up as opposed to a portion of your body weight when you do a push-up. So it's more like 210 pounds in total on the chin-up, but I figured I could handle it well enough because in recent history, I've done some pretty heavy density blocks on the chin-ups. I did 100 pounds, I think, for 20 total reps on a chin-up in something like 15 or 20 total minutes. I also did 30 reps with 90 pounds on a chin-up, neutral grip chin-up, again in about 15 or 20 total minutes. So my chinning strength is pretty solid right now. I don't think it's at all-time best levels or anything like that, but it is pretty solid. And when I do something like this, where the weight is pretty light and the rest periods are pretty short, I just wear the vest for the entirety of the segment here. I don't bother taking it on and off. That seems like way more trouble than it's worth. So now the goal here was 50 total reps on each movement, however long that takes me to get through. I wasn't capping myself in terms of a predetermined amount of time. Rather, I had a predetermined number of reps that I wanted to get in, and I was going to try to get those reps done in as fast as possible. And in reality, it doesn't take me all that long to knock out a segment like this. I literally did 50 wide grip pull-ups yesterday with body weight only as a finisher for one of my upper body workouts, and I knocked out all 50 of those reps in under 5 minutes, and I did that under a pretty decent amount of fatigue as well, as I had done 30 reps of pendlay rows with 225 pounds just before that. So I can crank out some pull-ups and some chin-ups pretty good. And I just checked my training log, and it turns out it took me about 20 minutes to get through all 100 total reps for this hypertrophy segment here. So that's actually pretty solid, if you ask me. It's a pretty darn good number of reps at a pretty solid intensity level in really not all that much time. And the way that I do these segments, these types of segments, is I typically pick a rep count that I think I can hit over and over pretty well throughout the entire density block with minimal rest in between bouts, even once fatigue starts to accumulate. So I'm shooting for roughly 6 to 8 reps every time that I attack the chin-ups for the most part. And these are all reps restarted from the bottom, so every single rep is standardized with minimal stretch reflex. And then I'm shooting for 8 to 10 reps on the push-ups. Obviously, the intensities don't match up perfectly, but that is perfectly fine. It's more convenient to not have to change the weights around when you're doing something like this, but things will balance out over time as long as you do a variety of different intensities. And what I do is I just try to accumulate the reps as fast as possible from here. I alternate movements. I rest as little as possible when I go back and forth, and I try to maintain this rhythm for as long as I can. Once I get closer to the finish line, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll start really cramming the reps together. I'll rest even less than I am normally, and I'll allow the reps per bout to start to try to taper down just so I can get through it as quickly as possible. Obviously, I have to do more sets, quote unquote sets, on the chin up here because I'm getting less reps per set. But that's fine too. Once you hit your push-up goal, you just stop doing the push-ups and then you finish out the chin-ups by themselves that way. Either way, this is a really good way to get in a large volume of high quality, moderate intensity reps in a very short period of time. And then I wrapped up the training session with the muscular endurance segment of the workout. And so this was roughly 15 minutes of just going back and forth on body weight only dips and wide grip pull-ups. Here, I managed 75 reps on each movement, and by now the fatigue is really starting to kick in, right? But when your relative strength is high and you can crank out a bunch of reps on these calisthenics exercises like I can, this ends up being a really great way to cap off one of these workouts. Just banging out a bunch of high quality reps, getting in a nice pump to finish things off, boosting work capacity and muscular endurance, and really just putting a cherry on top of what was already an incredibly productive workout. So that's about it, guys. Pretty fun stuff here. Challenging and productive as hell, but also very basic and very straightforward. No bells and whistles, just good old-fashioned hard work that allows me to make consistent gains for years and years and years. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. Please remember to smash the like button before you go. Leave me a friendly comment down below. Check out EnkiriEliteFitness.com for online coaching and training programs, and keep training hard. I will catch you guys next time.